Hey guys, welcome to the podcast. Today we have a very special episode. We are sitting with the director of media and marketing for Gateway Discs, also on the tour team for Gateway Discs, co-owner of Cardinal Disc Golf, and owner of Hyzer Marketing, uh, Kevin Fodrey. How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing
Did I,
good. Thanks for having
did I
me.
pronounce your name right?
It is Fodrey. I have never corrected anyone. No
No,
one's ever
really?
got it right the first time, so that is okay. I think I've been on like 3 podcasts in the last like 2 weeks, and no one said it right the first try. So
Did anyone ask?
okay. Yeah, Frank Smith did on the Throwing Thoughts podcast, but he knows me, so it wasn't really an ask. He was like, "Isn't it?" And I corrected it.
Yeah,
So, but yeah, it doesn't bother me.
it's Fodrey from here on out.
Yep.
Fodrey. I had a roommate in college that I lived with for 3 years, and he didn't know it was Fodrey until I was the best man at his wedding.
Really?
He's like, that's how you say your last name? I was like, yeah. He goes, that's insane. You never corrected me.
Yeah, I was about to say you must have heard him say your last name and just been
Thousands
like,
of
"All
times.
right, sure."
You must be like a really nice dude, because I think that would drive me absolutely crazy.
Or you're the most funny person ever.
Yeah.
Just like,
With that guy too, I probably would have done it anyway just to mess with him. But yeah, no, it doesn't ever bother me.
We really appreciate you coming on. I know you're
Yeah.
like your intro takes 2 minutes because you've got so many things going on. So I know your time is valuable, and we really do appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, absolutely. No problem. I don't ever mind doing it. And, obviously like being in a position with Gateway, I'm always trying to like spread the word and get out there. And I like doing podcasts. I would do one of my own, but I just, again, my wife would kill me if I start something
how
else.
could you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We would definitely get to Gateway, but if you don't mind, I'd like to
Yeah.
start talking about Cardinal, because this is something. But I seen you on a podcast, and I started doing a little research, and this is something I think's really cool, and makes me like admire you. Is like how much money you've made off Cardinal, which is none, right?
$0. I have still to this day. That is true. I have paid myself $0.
It's because you give it to your touring pros or
we give it to the players, the ambassadors. We give out a lot of gear. I don't have an exact number. I think I said it on another podcast. I think we've given away like probably 250 jerseys in the last like month. So yeah, we give away a lot of stuff. That's where pretty much all of our money goes. We operate like on a very small budget because of the way we operate, and we do it very intentionally because, like, I think I've mentioned it a bunch of times, it's just if we operated in a different way where we made money for ourselves, more money for ourselves, we wouldn't be able to support the players in the way that we do. And so I just like, we don't ever want to sacrifice that. And so like one of the things that we get, pretty much the only thing we've ever gotten complaints about is our shipping times, because it's 4 to 8 weeks.
Okay.
Because all our stuff's made to order, right? And it's like, yeah, dude, that sucks for sure. Like, I wish it was faster. I have tried many different things to try to get it to be faster, right? But I can get it faster. I can make it like a week, right? I can make it a couple days, but then I'm going to be able to sponsor like one pro because I have to order every single thing wholesale. And, there are guys, just like, frankly speaking, there's guys who I really like who sell like no jerseys. And just because they don't sell any jerseys doesn't mean it's not awesome for them to be able to have their own signature jersey and be able to promote it and sell it. And you never know, like somebody could, sell a ton of them. Like, I mean, one of our best selling jerseys last year was Joey Tamales. And like, there's probably a ton of dudes out there who don't know who Joey Tamale is. Right.
Yeah. It's my favorite one.
His is awesome. Yeah. It's super sick. And, that's kind of like the type of player that like maybe wouldn't have gotten a shot to get a jersey if we didn't operate the way we do. And like, I love Joey, like super nice, one of the most genuine people in disc golf. And like, I don't know, just that kind of stuff goes through my head all the time. Cause I'm like, obviously I put a ton of work into it. I mean, I work on top of all my other stuff, I put in at least 20 to 25 hours a week on Cardinal. And, for 2 years now, and I haven't made nothing from it. And my wife says all the time, she's like, so when are you gonna start paying yourself? I'm like, I don't know. We'll figure it out at some point. Right now, I really admire. Yeah. We haven't been paying for marketing either.
There's so many.
Like all of our
okay.
all of our money, which is kind of wild because I run a digital marketing company, but like we don't even advertise because we just like, again, if I spend $200 on a Facebook ad campaign, right? We'll just put a number out there. Okay. I think in my head, okay, how many jerseys could I give to somebody who's who's number one gonna love that jersey,
Ooh.
and number two, that was weird.
Oops.
It like did the intro. Whoops. But they're gonna either love that jersey, they're gonna wear it a ton, and it's like a guerrilla marketing type of like they're becoming a brand ambassador because they got a jersey from us, right? And so it's like I would always just rather do that. And it's also super cool to go out to a course and see somebody wearing something that like you made, which is just I just think it's cool. So yeah.
Oh, absolutely. It has to be great. How did you get in? Like, did you and somebody come up with the idea, or like what was the inspiration behind the jersey brand for disc golf? Like obviously you're a disc golfer, but
yeah, actually it's funny the way it started. There was a guy in the disc golf design community. I don't even want to call him part of the disc golf design community, but basically a guy was like jacking all of our designs. Because me and a couple of other guys, we all like make graphics on social media for the pros and stuff like that. And he was just like straight up ripping our graphics, like take the whole graphic, swap the player. That was it. And it was like, bro. So like a couple of us were like, hey man, like be really cool if you didn't do that. Like, obviously that's not cool. And he was like, design world is all inspiration. I can do whatever I want. You don't own the rights to that design. And we were like, that's crazy. And so we start just a wild response to that. So we started a group chat with like all the designers in disc golf. Cause like at the time it was really small. There was really only a couple of us doing it, like maybe like 6 or 7 people doing all of the graphics in disc golf. And we were like, hey, this is this guy's page. Everybody block him so he can't steal our designs.
yeah.
And then while we were in there, I think it was Lane, who's my partner now. I think he was the original he was the one who sent the original message. He was like, hey, while we're here and we have all this talent, can we just start an apparel brand that doesn't suck? Because a lot of the apparel in disc golf is super ugly. And that's not to like bash other people, but making cool apparel is not easy. Like it is hard to find something that is both stands out, but also is clean. Like, and so one of our goals was like most of our apparel, we want you to be able to wear it to work, to play disc golf, like wherever you're out on town, like whatever you're doing, you should be able to wear our stuff. And we have some louder designs now, mostly due to like player requests. They want something a little bit louder. We try to like give them what they want. But yeah. And so Lane sent that message. And I think like maybe a week later, I messaged him and I was like, hey, let's actually do that. And he was like, oh yeah, that'd be sweet, dude. We should do it. And then I sent him the paperwork for the business because I like
No, we're doing.
He's like, oh, okay. Like at least once or twice a year, he'll just randomly message me and be like, isn't it kind of crazy that we just like did this? And so I'm like, yeah, it is kind of crazy. So
yeah, that's what
cool.
I would definitely. I would say that about y'all's designs. It looks professional. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's whenever I think of what disc golf jersey should look like, it's something like that. Something clean, sleek, but it has the disc golf in the logo itself, so it's associated with it. But yeah, I'm a fan.
Yeah, we appreciate it. Yeah, and Lane does all our jersey designs, right? So I'll send him like ideas and come up with concepts or like a color scheme or something like that. But he makes them all, and I feel very comfortable saying I think he's one of the most talented graphic designers I've ever met or seen. And so he's the art director for Prodigy, if you don't know who Lane Mozoff is.
Okay.
And so everything Prodigy has looked really cool in the last couple of years. Lane has had a hand in doing that. So
I love those stamps. The flight stamps or whatever they call Legends of Flight or whatever they look like. They actually look like a stamp, not just a stamp.
Yes.
But they look like a stamp.
Yes, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, those are sweet. Yeah, he did like a whole rebrand for them when he came on board, and he doesn't do all of the stamps they do for the company. I know a lot of like the illustrated art and stuff. They'll hire people out. Like one of the guys on our team for Cardinal is Kelly Bapper, who we give a signature series jersey with like the big cardinal on the back. He does a lot of art. He does art for everybody, but he's done a lot of Prodigy's ones. I think he had a hand in doing like all their signature series last year with like the playing card theme. So yeah, he's, I mean, again, another awesome designer, which is one of the things too we wanted to do when we got into Cardinal was like offer opportunities to players who might not get them because they'd be overlooked by manufacturers, right? And so I personally have had experience with this. So I am pretty good at disc golf. I'm like 998 rated. I shot 1052 the other day, so I'm thinking I'll go to 1,000 on the next update.
Nice.
But yeah, so I'm but like I'm good at disc golf, but I'm not Gannon, right?
Right.
And I always felt like I was overlooked by manufacturers, especially as an MA1 player. But like since I got into disc golf, I've always been in marketing. Like I worked in corporate marketing before I started playing disc golf competitively, right? And so I know how to sell products. And every single sponsor I've ever had has made money on me, like decent amount. And but it's like sometimes like getting in the door was harder than it should have been. And manufacturers especially, they care so much about the rating. And it's like, I don't care what your rating is if you sell product, because a sponsorship is it's basically a sales job. That's what a sponsorship is. You're getting something, and a lot of times it's like a good sales job where you're getting it in advance, but in reality, they're wanting a return on their investment, right? And I have never had a negative ROI for a sponsor. I don't think ever. And so it's like when I first started, it was like I was really big into like Discraft, and they were like, well, you got to be 10-10 to be on our tour team. And I'm like, okay, like that's fine. I bet you I'll sell more discs for you than all of them combined, but that's fine. Like if you don't want to add me. And so then Will and the guys at Prodigy gave me a shot. And I told them when I came on, they were like, oh, we'll give you this, nothing, because you're not that much because you're not touring. And I was like, how about this? Like, I won't sign with you unless you give me the opportunity to show you that I'm worth something. And so I was actually the first person on Prodigy to have an affiliate link that tracked my sales. And I can't remember the number I sold, but I sold, a lot, tens of thousands of dollars through a link that didn't even have a discount code. It was just straight up, the only reason to click it would be to support me. And so it was like, that proved a lot of value. And I remember going to them after the first year being on their tour team, because I wanted to get up to the core team. And they were like, well, are you going to tour? I was like, well, no, it doesn't make sense. It's so expensive. Like, why would I do that? And they're like, oh, well, then you can't get bumped up. And I'm like, okay. And then Dave from Gateway called me and was like, you sold how much? Yeah. I was like, yeah. And he's like, sign here, brother.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Dave gave me a really good deal. Even last year was a phenomenal contract, probably, double what I was getting from Prodigy at least. And now Dave takes very good care of me. I have a very good contract with Gateway, and obviously I'm doing more than just playing for them now. But I've always like tried to support and partner with companies that I believe in, and then companies that also believe in me as a player, because I take great pride in finding people that are willing to take a chance on somebody, and I try to be that person for others, and then making sure that I prove them right. Right. So like a good example outside of disc golf is like right out of college, I interviewed for a lot of jobs, and I always took the mindset of like, apply for jobs I want to do, not jobs I'm qualified for. And I applied for jobs. I went through like 6 rounds of interviews to be like, I was right out of college interviewing to be the vice president of marketing for like Midwest America Federal Credit Union, like a big old credit union here in the Midwest. People were like, what in the world are you doing interviewing for that? And I was like, well, I'm in round 6. So it's like, you just gotta try. And the job I took right out of college, I joined a marketing team for a big resort company, multi-million-dollar resort company. And within 3 months, I was the director of marketing for their whole team. And I made them, over $100 million in the 3 years I worked there. And so it's like, I knew that I was underqualified for the position I had. So I made sure that I proved that I was worth it. And I try to do the same thing with sponsorships. And I think every player really should, is like, try to prove to that sponsor that like, hey, you took a chance on me, regardless of the amount it is, and be like, I'm going to make it 10 times more valuable for you than it is for me. And guess what? They'll never leave you.
How can a player show their worth? Like say you are a 998 or a 1010, but they want you to be 1020. Yeah. But like, how could the player that's only 1,000 go to a company and show their worth? Like,
Yeah, I mean, it's all about setting up metrics to measure your value, right? So I usually don't do anything that I can't tell my return on. So most companies in disc golf are operating on a website that has the ability to track sales, right? Whether that's through a code or direct link, whatever it is. And so there's that. That's an obvious one. And then I like to like make notes of things that I do that are valuable that aren't trackable. And so, for example, like I have a list of notes on here of like retailers that I know like either A, didn't carry gateway or barely carried any gateway that have now placed larger orders, right? Due to me like reaching out to them or offering up opportunity. Like one of the things I'm doing this season that I'm going to start doing here pretty frequently on my social media is I'm partnering with retailers that carry either a small amount of gateway or haven't carried it yet. And I'm figuring out ways to get them some discs that I know will sell through and then create promotional content and collaborate with their pages so that they get my followers and they can get more eyes on gateway and say like, hey man, this guy, is throwing it pretty good. Like maybe I should go give one of those a shot so that they sell through better. So to bolster our retail sales as well as just being, generally good for doing what I want to do, which is promote people in disc golf, right? Mm-hmm. Retailers are busting their butts to grow the sport. And so if I can help grow their page by getting them views, however many it might be, right, it's totally worth it to me. So yeah, there's a lot of ways, but I like I always tell people, number one way to get money in disc golf is know how much you're worth. If you don't know how much money you're worth, you're not worth anything. So yeah, knowing how much you can ask your sponsors, ask them how much money they think you've made them. Like, and then they, at the very least, they have to put it in their mind of trying to quantify it. Right. And so, cause there's lots of things that aren't quantifiable, but the number one best way to bring value to your sponsor is probably not super quantifiable, but it's word of mouth. But if you do it really good in your area, they will notice because the local retailers will sell through. Tournaments will have players packs of your discs, right? Your signature series disc or whatever it'll be gets bought more. And, there's a noticeable impact if you're doing it properly. But number one way to be a good sponsor player is to just verbally promote your sponsors. I can't tell you how many times I've been on a card with someone and they've just been like talking negatively or passive aggressively about their own sponsor. And it's like, wow, like I would never sponsor you. Like, that's crazy that you're doing that because to them, you're probably worth nothing. And they're, again, taking a chance on you and you're kind of like spitting on them. Like that stuff, that number one turn off to a player for me is people who disrespect their own sponsors. That's crazy.
Yeah, I understand that. Do you ever see Cardinal ever being like the premier jersey for like the DGPT or anything? Do you have aspirations like that? Like sky's the limit or like some partnership,
Yeah, we've talked about that. We've had opportunities for some stuff. I don't even know if I'm allowed to say this, but I'm going to say it anyway.
Nobody's listening.
At one point, MVP reached out to us to do all their apparel. And we were working on a deal with them. I don't really know what happened, but it kind of didn't go very good, I guess. I don't know. There's some weird things going on there. But either way, we didn't end up working with them. I think they're working with some other apparel company now that's doing their stuff. But I could see it. The problem is like, I don't know. I just like, I'm so realistic on value of things. Sure. And disc golf is in this place where a lot of the people involved in disc golf are not business people. And that's not like to insult them. It's just like, if your work has always been in disc golf, you probably don't have a good grasp of what dollar amounts are worth X number of things in the real world. Yeah. Because we deal in very small dollar amounts and very small viewership because we're a very niche sport. Mm-hmm. Right. And so like, I don't know. When I think about stuff like that, it's like, okay, they're going to think it's worth X number of dollars. Like a very good example is the Disc Golf Pro Tour's media package, right? So I looked at their media package. They want like $30,000 for yard signs in front of the tee pads. And it's like, I've played 7 Pro Tour events. I couldn't tell you what was on that tee sign.
Yeah.
Any one of them. So it's like, and I saw it 30 times between practice rounds and my rounds. Yeah. So it's like, it's not that it's not value, but their value proposition on it is way higher than it should be. And so for a jersey like partnership like that, like they're probably going to want me to like provide all the jerseys for free or at a massive discount. They're going to want exclusive rights. And also it all goes back to like really all we care about with Cardinal is just supporting players, making cool stuff we want to wear. And so it's like, sure, if I want to make money, like I guess I could do something like that, but like if I'm about making money, I'm doing a horrible job because I have taken none. So it's like, yeah, I don't know. I think people have because I've said it a couple of times on podcasts about like that we haven't paid ourselves. I think people have this misconception that we don't have money. We have made a lot of money. We have sold a lot of jerseys. I bet you there's I actually don't know the number, but there's more than 10,000 Cardinal jerseys in the world out in the wild. So like we've sold a lot of jerseys and we could have made a lot of money, but again, it's like, I think people would like think it's a fake when we say that, like, we really don't care about it, but Lane and I both have jobs. So it's like, we don't need the money from it. I would obviously love to have money from it, but like, yeah, I don't know. I almost feel like part of it is like, once I pay myself, like that authenticity of being like, I don't even pay myself, that's gone. And it's like,
right.
I kind of like it because it's true. And I can't say that anymore.
It's awesome. It's genuine, you know?
Yeah. So Lane holds the same principle, but we'll pay ourselves eventually. Probably this year we'll pay ourselves. I'm not going to like tell people we're never going to pay ourselves. I would like to get paid. I work a lot, but that being said, like, again, the players and come first, the profits always will come last. So
of course, you have any dream acquisitions besides Gannon Burr this past season?
Yeah. I mean, that's pretty awesome. The number one player in the world. That's pretty good. I don't know. Hard to go anywhere.
Hard to top that one, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I don't know. Macbeth's basically wearing our jerseys with how much they copy our designs. So, I mean, yeah, it's okay. I mean, Lane and I talk about it all the time. It's like we don't see these companies. I can probably name you like 10.
I'm going to be paying close attention now to
stolen our jersey designs, but it's okay. Like I said, again, if we were focused on profit first, I'd probably be like, what are you guys doing? But to me, it's really just funny. Like if companies who are spending millions of dollars on marketing are copying guys who are spending tens of dollars on marketing,
you're doing it right.
We're doing something right.
Yeah. I really like your signature jersey this year. I think it's probably one of the sweeter ones.
The last one to get designed.
Was it?
Okay.
My jersey was actually, so if you see Elijah Bickle's one with the red on the top, the feathers, that design with the feathers on the top, I came up with that. And that was going to be my signature jersey. Because last year my jersey was feathers. I like to have a feathered jersey like style because I'm the owner of Cardinal, you know. And it was such a cool design. And when we came up with it, that I was just like, man, I was like, the Glide team gets 3 designs and then they can pick one of the 3 designs and then their own color. So, and then their logo gets added to the sleeves. So it's like more of like local pros that we sponsor. And I was like, dude, you could do so many cool color combos with that. It's kind of a waste to just do mine with it. Right. And so I was like, I'll just give it to them. Like, it's whatever. And like dang near all of them picked that design too. And I'm like,
really?
They're like, man, my jersey's so sick. I'm like, yeah, I know. It was mine.
It was my idea.
It is. Yeah. It is. The feather ones are sick though. They really are. But I like yours a lot.
Yeah, it's sick. I'm pretty sure I think Lane sent me the final design for my jersey 2 days before the drop. So I still don't even have my jersey. So I'm the only person without their jersey probably. But
you're still waiting on the 4 to 8 weeks for shipping.
That's right. Yeah. So but no, I think it's super sick. I've had people message me and be like, I can't wear it. It's Saints colors or it's Purdue colors. And I'm just like, that's fine. I'm a Michigan fan. I'm still gonna wear it. But yeah, I think it's pretty sick. And I'm also I did jersey last year, so I went with blade collar polo this year, so a little bit more formal. I wear golf pants when I play usually in the summer, so it looks nicer. But yeah, I think all of them are pretty sick this year. We'll drop some alternate, kind of like how we did last year with the Altered Flight series. Later in the year, we'll drop alternate colorways of all of them, like as non-signature series jerseys, which will be pretty cool. And then I mean, obviously, like Gannon will probably win like 10 events this year, and so we'll be dropping a jersey every time he wins, which is
shit, that's cool. Yeah, I like that.
That'll be tough to keep up with, but it's going to be a bummer because somebody will be like, oh, I ordered Gannon's victory jersey at Waco and he's won 6 events and my jersey's not here yet. It's like, well, sorry.
He's going to have to quit winning so much.
Yeah, it's an issue for sure. But
I want to like pull the curtain back a little bit because I just think this is funny. And once again, I think you're genuine, and I kind of appreciated this too. We were supposed to do this interview last week, and you messaged us and was like, "Hey, it's gonna be like 70 degrees and sunny here. I'm gonna go play disc golf." And we were like, "Hell yeah!" I mean, completely understand. You know what I mean?
I love the honesty, and you got go Frisb.
Yeah.
I was like, man, I told them I was supposed to be. So last week I was supposed to be on Frank's podcast on Monday, and then yours on Tuesday, and then I looked at the forecast, and it'd been like 10 degrees for like a month. And I looked at the forecast and it was like 58 on Monday and Tuesday, and then back to cold. And I was like, bruh, I am not sitting inside.
Yeah.
So I cancel Frank's too. I was like, Monday and Tuesday, I'm playing disc golf, dude. I got to practice.
Yeah. Every time we're in here, we'd rather be playing disc golf too.
Yeah. Yeah. Today was 50. And I was like, my buddy texted me. He's like, I'm going to get off work at 4. He's like, you want to go play? And I was like, man, I have a podcast at 6. And he's like, that's time. And so I put out on 18 at like 5:45. Busted home, got straight up to my laptop.
Then you're waiting on us.
That's right. I'm always punctual.
That's right.
Yeah, I thought, man, this man could have lied or made up any kind of excuse.
Never.
He was like, no, I'm throwing. I don't care. I'm throwing. I was like, hell yeah, he's real.
Yeah.
He's a real dude.
Yeah.
I'd like to switch gears a little bit and talk a little bit about Gateway.
Yeah.
How did you initially get involved with them? I know you were a sponsored player with Gateway.
Yeah.
And how did it come to be?
I was on the tour team for Prodigy, and I was actually, I don't know if I've ever said this, but I was actually like about to sign with them again.
Mm-hmm.
I hadn't had any conversations with Gateway at all. And I mentioned I'm a Michigan fan. I was watching the national championship game for football. Go Blue. And they were winning. And I got a phone call from a number I didn't recognize. Normally would never answer at that time, but it was halftime. And so I was like, oh, I'll just answer the phone. And I was like, hello. And it was Dave McCormick. And he's like, hey, I got your number from another player. And he's like, I think it might have been John Borzik. And he's like, he was telling me about how you sell more than all these other players combined. And he's like, I really want to figure out how to get you on Gateway. And I'm like, well, I've never thrown Gateway besides like my Wizards. And my first ever ace came with a Wizard, and my second ace ever with a Wizard. So I was a Wizard dog back in the day. But I was like, I was like, I'd obviously love to chat with you, but like I was about to sign with Prodigy. So I was like, I got maybe a week to make this decision. So, and he's like, well, I don't want you to sign with me until you know you can throw the Frisbees. So he like overnighted me a box of like 20 Frisbees. And I went out and played with it. It was horrible weather. It was freaking, I don't even remember what was happening, pouring rain or something like that, freezing cold. But I went out and played with them, and I threw really well with them. And I was like, oh, these are, again, I will say this. I think virtually every manufacturer makes very good discs now. So yeah, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that Gateway makes discs that nobody else could ever make, because it's not true, because everybody makes great discs, right? But I think they make phenomenal discs. And so because everybody makes good discs, it becomes, who do you want to support and the people you want to support, right? And so that's one of the areas where I feel like Discraft, for example, has done a really good job, because Discraft doesn't make better discs than everybody else, right? They might tell you they do, but they don't, right? The reason that they do a really good job is because they have super good marketing, and they're very like cool and relatable people. And so people get behind the brand, right? It's got nothing to do with the disc. I am telling you right now, if I hand you a Nuke and I hand you a Realm, you're going to throw them the same, right? And so with Gateway, I thought like the whole first year I was on their team, I was just like, man, these are some of the coolest people, like most genuine people in the sport. They're just not good at telling their message, right? And it's because Dave is just so analytical, like very, very in-depth knowledge of how discs are made and the processes and the different temperatures and the conditions you need for the polymers and all this kind of stuff. He'll talk to you for 400 hours, right?
And you shorten that down to a 60-second clip.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And he has no idea how to sit here and talk on a podcast, because your podcast would be 6 hours. Yeah. And so I just like was thinking of different ways throughout the season. And I did quite a bit of stuff for him last year, but just like, how can I expand to grow them to where I feel like they should be or deserve to be, right? And so I talked to Dave about like, hey, like I want to expand my role with you guys. Let's figure out a way to do that. Again, I have a title of director of marketing and media. I mean, in reality, that's more of just so I can help manage the team and have like an official capacity. But in reality, it's like, I just want to tell their story. And so, it's more of like a content creation thing. And I'm doing a lot of content creation. I'm doing way more behind the scenes stuff than I originally thought I was going to be doing. But I love it. And I'm helping get them systems in place that are going to help them in the future where maybe I won't have to be so hands-on. But a lot of the guys that work there, I mean, Corey Folkens is the team manager, phenomenal person, works his butt off. I think is easily the best team manager I've ever seen in disc golf. He just genuinely cares about every single player on the team, which is awesome. Ryan Jeziorski is one of the guys that helps me with some of the videos at the place. And like, he had like not really done any video or marketing or anything like that. And he was trying to like kind of help in the interim until I got in there. And again, like just super passionate, obviously just loves what he's doing and loves disc golf and just wants to be involved in disc golf in any way he can. And so those kind of people, I just want to like, even if they're not good at something, I want to figure out how to get them good at the thing they want to be good at so that they can do the thing they love. Right. And so like empowering people to do things that they love is like my number one passion. And so if I can figure out a way to like, even if it requires me to struggle a little bit, like if I can figure out a way to get you to do something that you're going to like wake up excited to do, I will bust my butt to make that a possibility. And so that's kind of what, like, again, that goes back into Cardinal of like, our first year, we sponsored a ton of local pros because it's like, man, I know you all want to be playing disc golf more and making more money, but you just can't get it from manufacturers. Like, let me figure out another avenue for you to make money. So this is more possible for you or more justifiable for you to be spending time doing. Right. And so same thing goes with Gateway. Like, I want everybody to try Gateway disc because again, they make phenomenal discs and the people behind it are awesome. And they have so much passion for the sport that your money couldn't be going somewhere better, in my opinion. So
you're saying the Gateway Odyssey trumps any MVP over mold?
I am going to, here's what I will do. I am going to stay away from commenting on it. Here's why. There is definitely some interesting background to that I will try to I'm not going to share because again, there is so much depth to it. But I will say this, and I'm very comfortable saying this, is Gateway Disc Works made the first overmolded disc in disc golf.
Yes.
So we'll just leave it at that.
I do. They put it on the disc. I love that they did that too.
Dave is a brave man.
Is it like overmold technology since whatever it was?
I'll tell you what, that's the one thing I will always appreciate, and it is to a fault, but Dave is going to tell you how it is. Always.
Sure.
So yeah, no, I think they're cool. I don't bag an Odyssey. I think they're pretty flippy. He came out with just some new ones that he brought to the expo that I think are more stable and they look so cool. Okay. So I might grab one of those to try out, but I think it'd be like a similar slot to my Spear. And if you've never thrown a Spear, it's like the most versatile
Gibbs
fairway driver of all time.
That's actually in my notes,
bro.
Because I haven't. I'm probably gonna be like a lot of people that's listening right now, right?
Yeah.
They've probably tried the Wizard, and that might be as far as they've went with Gateway, and that's the only ones I've ever thrown is the Wizard. And but I've been looking at them because I'm always willing to give anything a try, right? You know. And those numbers, the 9.5 minus 2.1, that's my numbers. You know, 7.
It should be 9.7.
Oh,
dude,
really?
They have so much glide. Holy, they just stay in the air forever. I can throw a Spear like 475.
I got to get my hands on one. I bet I can get 275 with
it. I think it's one of, especially now that we have these like NXT light ones. If you're like a lower arm speed player or like a lot of FPO players, dude, I think the Spear might be arguably one of, if not the best disc to learn how to play disc golf with, because you can throw it from brand new player can throw 100 feet. You'll still be able to get flight out of it to you're 1,000 plus rated and you throw 500 feet. It's like, I can get it to flip up and turn through the woods. Like I throw it in the woods all the time because it's just like so much glide and it holds turn that you can just very effortlessly. I can throw it with like 30% power and get like almost 400 feet. Like it just glides.
Getting a Spear.
Well, you sold me.
Yeah. NXT and get an NXT one. Those are, I think they're the glidiest ones. Or if you like lightweight, an NXT light one is very good too.
Well, go ahead and throw some more recommendations because I want people to like learn about Gateway.
Yeah.
On this episode, you know.
Yeah, some of my favorite discs I'm throwing right now, I'll just like go through them really fast. Is like the Cash is Super Money, which is a disc from Hooligan that Gateway makes. I think it's one of the best backhand overstable approach discs I've ever thrown. It's probably my favorite I've ever thrown. It's got surprising stability, like overstability for how much it feels like a normal putter. Like you'll feel it and be like, oh, this is something I could putt with. And then you'll throw it and be like, I just ripped on that and it's still done. And so they're sweet, especially the Metal Flake ones are amazing. The War Spear is a better Berg. It's just what it's a little bit faster and it's just flies just like a Berg, feels just like a Berg, but it's faster. So I think it's more useful for a lot of people. The Realm is one of the farthest flying discs I've ever thrown. I think my first throw ever with a Realm was with an NXT Super Glow Realm, and I threw it like 538, and I didn't even feel like I threw it that hard. And I was like, actually, my buddy Aaron is playing with me. He goes, geez. He goes, that goes very far. And so I was like, yeah, so those will always be in the bag. And then, yeah, the Spear is awesome. An Element, again, something about the NXT plastic and the way that Dave molds them, they just like glide really far. And almost everybody I know who's thrown an Element says it's the farthest flying mid-range they've ever thrown. And again, like there's a hole at the course I just played this last weekend at Oshima that's 440 feet. And it's like a little bit downhill. And I threw my Element on every single time long. Like it just glides forever, flips up the flat, goes straight. And they got nice little dome on them on the NXT ones. And so that's another really good one. The Wizard is awesome. Obviously. Another really underrated disc from Gateway is the Triple S Voodoo, specifically the Triple S Voodoo. The Voodoo's good, but the Triple S one, if you take it and you just slam it into the ground like 2 times, it'll get a little bit flippier. And oh my gosh, dude. I mean, I think tonight I threw a shot with one on like this turn. There's this like really tight turnover shot in the woods on this course near me. And I threw it right under the bucket. And my buddy Aaron's like, he's like, that's not an easy shot. He goes, and he's like, I'm pretty sure I've watched Kevin throw that 100 times. I don't think I've ever seen him miss it. And I'm like, yeah, dude, because the Voodoo is cat.
The voodoo
is magic.
It's so good, dude. It's a Voodoo. So yeah, those are some really good ones I check out. I think the Warrior's good. Again, farther flying like Buzz OS, very similar to Flight. But just more glide. Gateway's got just really high glide disc. And it's interesting too, because I came from Prodigy, and you will never catch me bash a company in disc golf that I was ever sponsored by. Never. I think Prodigy makes phenomenal discs. And but I think Prodigy's discs just for some reason have low glide. I don't know why, but however far I threw any other distance driver, my D1s always just went 30 feet shorter, 40 feet shorter, like always. I don't know why. You wouldn't know watching Gannon throw them. But when I switched from, I was like throwing primarily Innova and Discraft, got sponsored by Prodigy. Then I was like, man, I lost a lot of distance, I feel like. And then I went to Gateway, which I think had more glide than Discraft and Innova even. And I was just like, holy smokes, I got a lot of distance back. And so like those first few rounds where I was playing with the full Gateway bag, I was like, I'm kind of bombing this stuff.
Yeah, you're not I've actually heard somebody mention that too with Prodigy discs. So I can't throw them far. And
yeah,
like,
I don't know what it is. Definitely 400 plastic. It just doesn't go as far. I don't know what it is about that. Maybe it's, again, Dave could tell you. It's the density about some kind of polymer or whatever it is. But yeah, maybe too much urethane in the rim, or I don't know. But either way, they just don't glide as far. So whatever Dave's done to get the mold to the right weight in the rim and all of this different stuff, they just glide so far, especially realms, dude. I almost guarantee you, if you can throw a maximum distance drive over 350 feet, the realm will be the best distance driver you've ever thrown. I can almost guarantee it.
Now, you keep mentioning NXT plastic. Is there something you could compare that to?
Yeah, NXT plastic is like, it's kind of like between Star and ESP. Okay. So similar to that, it's kind of like the grip of Star, but like the flexibility of ESP, if that would make sense. But extremely durable, which is nice. Like I feel like my NXT discs like don't beat in, which is super nice.
Yeah.
Especially for like a driver, or like, everything will beat in a little bit, but like if I get a driver that's like really overstable in NXT and I'm like, dude, in a month, this is going to be a flippy bomber.
Yeah.
And so I like that. But then the diamond plastic from Gateway is like very similar to like Champion from Innova. But again, a little bit gummier maybe. So like between Champion and like 400 from Prodigy. But yeah, I mean, I think all their plastic, we have 15 plastics.
Yeah, I noticed that.
So many plastics. A lot of them are putter plastics. Like there's like Lunar and
SSS and
SSS. Yeah. So there's like a million of them. But yeah, we're actually trying to reduce some SKU numbers right now. So it's so hard because they're all so good. And it's like, oh, let's get rid of money plastic. And
sure.
And somebody in the team page is like, not the money wizard. And so it's like, okay, well, we'll just keep them. And so yeah, but yeah, Dave's always messing with stuff. He's he's like a mad scientist in there, always messing with stuff. And so one of the reasons why I'm was really interested in doing this position too was like Dave's already making some of the best discs I've ever thrown. And so like, if I can just take these things off his plate and give him more time and more opportunity to like develop things, man, he could come up with some really cool stuff. I mean, really cool stuff. So you'll see my signature series disc for this year is getting molded this week. It's a spell. I'll say that. I don't think I've told anybody that. Okay. It's a spell, but, it's going to be like a mixture. I think at least what we're trying to do, he's messing with it this week, is a mixture of like diamond super glow with like a touch of platinum. And platinum is like a little bit more durable G-Star. So,
okay.
But platinum is actually made of 75% recycled and regrind. So it's kind of like an eco-friendly option for plastic, kind of like how Prodigy has the reblend and stuff like that. And so that's I think that was kind of like a transition into us making some discs for Trash Panda because we did the ETs for them. But Dave, again, like 75% recycled plastic, no one ever knew that because that's a super cool thing and a really good thing they're doing. But there's just no messaging going on about it. Right?
Sure.
So it's like
he was just wanting to make a cool disc.
He just did it because it's cool.
He just wanted to make a cool disc, and he's like, hey, and it's good. It's better for the environment. We're using up all this stuff, and
that's how you know he's a genuine person. He just does those things because he loves it, and he doesn't need to tell anyone about it. I guess, right?
Yeah. Literally exactly what it is. And like I said, to a fault. Like sometimes it's like, hey, you got to tell some people about this stuff, Dave.
You know, people like buying recycled stuff, right?
Yeah. Why are my sales numbers higher? I haven't told anybody about the hundreds of thousands of dollars of good I've done in this world, but they're not backing me. It's like, let's tell them. So yeah, no, but all of that fused into like one plastic. So I'm hoping it'll be like the durability of like diamond super glow, which is our most overstable plastic and probably our most durable plastic. And then that touch of platinum will give it a little bit of gumminess so that you can like really get into it. Like if you're throwing a forehand on it or a backhand, like it'll feel more like Halo Star mixed with like a Champion plastic. That's at least what I'm envisioning. I haven't felt them yet. So that was the goal I'm hoping for, but they're supposed to be, I told him, I said, I don't really care what it looks like as long as it's really overstable because I love BV drivers. Yeah. So yeah, I'm excited. Those will be cool.
I had a question and I hope this doesn't come off as too brash, but like Gateway in the past has been perceived by some as like kind of in quotations, stoner, kind of like the stoner brand. Is that something that you're trying to maybe gear away from, or do you think there's kind of a place for that in disc golf as well?
Yeah. Yeah. I've had that direct. I actually, in fact, I believe I called us a stoner brand to Dave yesterday.
He was probably like, yeah.
Hey, wait,
I don't think, yeah.
Let me say this first. Like, we don't think there's anything wrong with it.
No. Yeah.
Like, we know our listeners, we know and they're high right now. Yeah. And if they're not high right now, go get high because it'll be better when you come back.
So it's interesting. So that is not my brand at all. Like I am a married Christian white dad, about as cookie cutter as you can get. And
boring.
I don't drink. I don't do drugs. I'm very clean cut. Right. And so the idea, it's funny. Some people mentioned that to me when I went to Gateway. They're like, Kevin to Gateway. They're like, that's kind of weird. Like, doesn't really mesh. And I was like, dude, again, like, the people are so good that it's like, okay, that's their perception, right? But that's because that's the kind of guy Dave is, right? He's so relaxed and chill, and he gets along and with everybody. He's got the vibe, And I don't think we're trying to necessarily steer away from it because that's a lot of customer base for us, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, we have the hemp plastic, which like, again, hardly gets any marketing put towards it in the past, but is a super cool plastic. Putting an organic substance inside of the plastic is like unique thing. We have coffee plastic. Have you ever seen a coffee putter from Gateway?
No.
Dude, we'll get you one. It smell that he puts coffee grinds into the plastic and forever, like it doesn't go away. It smells like a fresh cup of coffee right in front of your face.
I'd be sniffing that on the
dude. We got minis that do it, and I've had one in my bag where I'm like, kick you up in the morning. I'm like, that's nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I don't think we're trying to necessarily go away from it. It's not, again, like it's hard for me to advertise to that crowd because it's not who I am.
Sure.
But we've also just had a conversation yesterday about like maybe having some content creators that are more in that space because there's value to it. And also just because you like smoke weed doesn't mean you're a bad person or I don't want you to play disc golf or whatever. I want everybody to play disc golf. I wish every single person in the whole world could play disc golf. But yeah, it's like, it's hard. It's like I said, I try to do everything I do. I try to be genuine about it. Right. And so if I go out there and I'm like, "Yo, this hemp plastic, I just got high, dude." I'm like, it's not gonna, people are gonna be like, "This dude's never seen weed in his life." Yeah, narc.
Freaking
yeah. So we're not gonna have the narc advertising for the hemp line, but that doesn't mean that we don't want it to have it. I just think there's like a good balance of it. I mean, every brand's got a little bit of it, right? Like
it's disc golf.
Not called the Buzz because it's a bee. It's called the Buzz because people were getting high when they made it. And so yeah, we'll see. I think we'll have we're definitely gonna still keep that around. Like that's not going anywhere, but it's not going to be like the emphasis of the company, where I think in the past, since there wasn't really an emphasis, that became the emphasis because it was the most obvious or loudest part of the company. But that being said, like, yeah, I don't think it's going anywhere. Like, and I don't want it to go anywhere because I think again, tons of those people are really cool and we want them to be throwing our discs. So like, let's keep advertising to them.
I mean, it's disc golf, right? I mean, we can't deny it. You know what I mean? It's just part of it.
That was very well answered, by the way.
Yeah. Thank you.
You should be running disc golf.
Yeah, dude.
Like the whole thing.
Don't tell my wife that you said that.
Like the whole thing.
Yeah. No.
Be the mouthpiece. Go ahead. Sorry.
I'm a PR guy, right? So I went to college for marketing and PR, and so like talking and like doing this kind of stuff is very natural for me because I'm not like thinking it up right now. Like all this stuff that we're talking about, I think about it all the time. Like disc golf is like 90% of my brain. And so a lot of the things, it's like you said, like, oh, that's a well thought out answer. And it's like, it's because I've been thinking about it nonstop for the last like week. And so it's like, I didn't just come up with it. Like I've been thinking about it. And so
I'm high right now. Whoa, you're really smart.
Yeah. Want to buy a wizard? No. Yeah. So yeah, it's yeah. Well, I'd like to see my role expand in disc golf for sure. Eventually, I still have quite a few clients outside of disc golf. I work in medical. I was the director of marketing for a medical company we bought and sold private practice dental offices and stuff like that. So I've worked in some very different industries, and I still work in those quite a bit. A lot of my income comes from doing that, which is one of the reasons why I can afford to not pay myself from Cardinal. And so I like to keep that stuff so that I can keep that authenticity and love of disc golf, because like there's always just like a little bit of it where if you start to have your entire livelihood come from something, it becomes more of work. Right. Yeah. And so I was talking about it the other day with somebody, it was like a newer guy I was giving lessons to, and he's like, oh my gosh, can I just be as good as you right now? And I was like, dude, you need to enjoy what you're doing. I never got to suck. Like I never got to suck. I never got to go out and play around a disc golf where it didn't matter if I was good, because like I think the second tournament I ever played, I won.
Really?
Right. And so it was like right away, it was like, hey, you can make some money on this. You should practice. You should be good. And so it's like the more money and the more things that I make, that's one of the reasons, again, another reason why I love being with Gateway, because Dave doesn't care what my rating is. Right. He doesn't. Whereas like back when I was on Prodigy, I was like, man, if I gotta get to a 10-10 if I want to get promoted to this, or with Discraft, they were like, you can't be on our team unless you're 10-15 rated or whatever. And I'm just like, I don't know. I am friends with a lot of guys on Discraft and on Innova and things like that. And it's like these super heavy rating specific stipulations they put on these players on a system which is completely arbitrary and garbage, because the rating system is
really
garbage.
Absolutely.
And
you need people to sell plastic.
yeah, if you can sell plastic and not even just sell plastic, like, again, there is a place for guys in disc golf that don't sell plastic. Maybe you don't move it, but you are just an extremely positive voice or face for a brand, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so like a good example of that, I'll try to think of a good example of that, is like Danny Beauchamp. I'll give Danny Beauchamp a shout out. He just beat me this weekend. Danny Beauchamp probably doesn't move a ton of Frisbees, right? Because he's not a super big social media active guy or whatever. But Danny is just like such a salt of the earth, good person that like every tournament you've ever been to where Danny Beauchamp's in the field, you want him on your card, right? And so it's like, those are the hardest players for sponsorship purposes, because it's like, you want to like support them, but they also don't like necessarily bring you all the money that like can justify you spending a lot of money on them. And so it's like, we talked about it, Dave and I, we were restructuring the contracts for all the different teams at Gateway. And I was just like, man, guys who are 960 to 1,000 are so hard to sponsor, because most of them can't quantify how much they're worth. And so you're taking a gamble on all of them, and they want a lot because, like, again, disc golfers are not business people. So they just think, I'm good at disc golf, I should get money. And it's like, that's not how it works.
Yeah.
And so, especially now with the market shift and you watch all these players move and stuff like that, the days of getting paid just because you're good at disc golf, gone. I mean, you got to be worth money. I mean, even guys like Isaac Robinson, for example, like, I know he got a pretty good contract with Lab 264, but I'm guarantee you it's less than you think it is, because
we just made that comment recently about one of our local Chris Dickerson was like, man, he's going to have to figure out social media pretty quick because
and if you notice, he's been paying a lot more attention this year.
Sure. Yeah.
So he's made a lot more content. I see everything on disc golf.
You're in it, man.
Called me Mark Zuckerberg or whatever on their thumbnail. So, yeah,
it's kind of, to me, it's kind of a shame that players have to do the social media part. Even, you know what I mean? Like, I wish we're not there yet, right? Like,
I wish our sport was there too.
Yeah,
I do. Yeah, I wish we had Curry and LeBron level stuff, and you could just be good at your sport and not worry about it. But another misconception about disc golf, because people aren't professional athletes or business people, is that those guys are just getting paid because they're good. LeBron's getting paid because he sells stuff.
Oh yeah.
If LeBron was just good at basketball, but nobody ever bought a LeBron jersey or his shoes or put him in a commercial or, made a Space Jam out of him, right? He wouldn't get paid the money. Yeah. That's why, like, I don't know. That's why it's like, it's tough. A good example is like Giannis Antetokounmpo, right? Has been in Milwaukee, which is a small market thing. And everybody's like, why are you staying in Milwaukee? And it's like, part of it is because the second you go to somewhere like LA, right, you have to become a celebrity. Yeah. And it's not that he's not, but he spends a lot more time at home than a lot of other big pros, I promise you. So disc golf's the same thing. It's like, they're just like, they just see, oh, Cristiano Ronaldo is really good at soccer, so he gets paid hundreds of millions of dollars. Well, he also sells tens of millions of dollars of things. So it's like, it's quantifiable, and they have metrics on all of it. Yeah. They don't offer him money just because they're hoping that Cristiano Ronaldo sells something. They know exactly how much money and how much ticket revenue and shares and everything. So we just don't have the science behind it. We don't have the marketing and the numbers behind it in disc golf yet. And it might not ever get there. I mean, honestly, if you're asking me truthfully, I don't think it ever will. Which is a bummer, because I think, like, visually, disc golf is one of the coolest sports ever. Yeah. And completely unbiased, not trying to say it because I'm a disc golfer and I want everybody to play disc golf, but like thinking about the things that we do during our sport, it's like, there's no other sport that's like that. No. Like, if you're the first time ever, you've never seen basketball, and you go out to a basketball court and you watch a guy hit a 3-pointer, you're like, oh, cool. Right? Like, nice. You got that ball in the circle, right? But then you've never seen disc golf, and you go out there, and I've seen this a bunch of times where I'm out doing field work and some guy walks up at the practice basket with his drawstring bag, and I throw 550 feet in the field. He's like, what the? Like, he can't believe his eyes.
Absolutely.
Right? And disc golf has that wow factor
Wow factor,
immediately on almost everything we do.
Yeah.
Big putts are sick. The
Hole-in-ones
long drive, shaping the
happen
fairways, hole-in-ones happen way more than in regular golf, right? And so it's like the sport, like I think Simon's been quoted saying it, is just like he wishes it was more popular because he doesn't understand why it's not, because it's the coolest sport ever. Like it is. It's just it's such a cool sport. And a lot of people will think like, oh, just frisbee golf. And then I'll like take out a friend that hasn't been, and I'll take them play disc golf, and they're like, holy smokes, like that's sick.
Especially the flight. Like there's really no other sport where everyone marvels at the thing in action, right?
Yes,
like
absolutely.
All in the air until someone catches it or whatever goes in the net. But like you get to see a disc like snake through the woods. People are very impressed by that.
Yeah. And then if you're throwing like 500 feet, I mean, the disc is in the air, like on average, I think it's like 7 to 8 seconds. So it's like every single shot, you're just like, like it's such a, I don't know, it's such a cool sport. There are things, I don't want to like ever discredit or like insult anybody who puts a lot of effort into our sport. And I think the guys who run the Disc Golf Pro Tour put a lot of effort into our sport, but I think there's a lot of things that they do that could be done way better. And it's not from like necessarily an operations standpoint, because like I've played 7 events, 6 of them were Elite Series, 1 was a major. And so it's like I know how much work goes into those. And so like props, major shout out. They're the reason that a lot of these guys have a job in disc golf, right? But that being said, like the oversight side of it, like, again, I don't want another job, but like I could absolutely see a lot of areas where like they could definitely improve that. And so, and again, it might not even be that popular among disc golfers, but it's what you would need to do to grow the sport. And so like, I think Gannon said it on a podcast once, maybe it was Staggered Stance or something like that, where he said that he has like an unpopular opinion of like, we should stop playing in the woods. And I hate that because I love playing in the woods, but I think it's correct, because the viewership capacity in the woods is so much harder to get people, fans in there packed in, and the signal is worse, and the watching the flight is much more difficult. Whereas like out on a golf course, like you can go watch it. Like for a brand new player, like for me, I think it's more exciting because I know the skill level required to throw in the woods, right? But for a fresh set of eyes, watching Anthony Barella bomb a 700-foot drive on a golf course is way better for the sport than watching Greg Barsby flip up a TL3 through the wood. You know what I mean? Like that's a much more technical shot, and it's harder to do necessarily, but like it's not what grows like the viewership side of it. And so I think he said that like we should do all the events at the biggest cities on the courses with the best viewership, and we should make coming to the event free. And then you monetize the business through other things, sales and like merchandise sales and disc sales and, experiences, which they're doing more and more of that stuff. But it sucks because like, then we don't get Idlewild.
Right.
Like that's just not a Pro Tour viewership place. And so, it's interesting. We'll see. I don't know. There's a lot of things up in the air about the Disc Golf Pro Tour. I'll be interested to see this year. So,
it seems like they might be not some of the decisions they're making might not be the best. But I'm glad to, I'm glad we got them. I'm a huge
for sure.
That's all you got.
That's all we got. I'd like to see GoThrow come out and put on.
I think they're going to do a great job.
I do too. I really do.
Because again, I think that not that he doesn't want to get paid, but I think Luke Humphreys is a person who's like really passionate about disc golf, and he just wants a good product put out there. And so I think that they'll do a really good job on promoting the sport and putting out a product that people want to watch.
Yeah. I was going to ask you about the Titan Pro 35.
Best basket ever made. Not even close.
What can you tell us about it?
Argue with a wall. It is the best catching basket ever made. I don't even think it's close. I will not name specific people, but I will tell you someone who is very good at disc golf that you would know has put on it with me. And the first few seconds of them putting on it, they literally said, "Why is this not on every course?"
Wow.
It is so good. Yeah. I have put on pretty much every basket model. I think I've put on every single basket model that's currently like available in market. And I think that the best basket in the world, and I don't think it's a close race, is the Titan Pro 35. And then I think probably a distant second would be either a Mach X or the New Zealand basket, the RPM basket. Those are very cool. Simon, the owner of RPM, came out to the Preserve and brought some out for us to try, and it caught surprisingly well. The issue, one of the reasons, again, I'm always thinking of the marketing side of it, is like one of the major benefits of the Titan Pro 35 over those besides catching better is that there's massive advertising space on it. It has a big, thick band on the top where you could wrap it. Dave has a thing where you could even maybe wrap the bottom cage with a banner and stuff like that. So it's like, boom, you could sell each one of those on every single hole and every single thing and generate more money into the sport. The New Zealand, like the RPM baskets, they're like, circular bottom. You can't really wrap that. And then like the top is like a thin, there's not really a band. And so it's like, you pretty much limited to like a flag on the top, which like, or a koozie, which I hate koozies. Don't get me started. It's Dave's been developing it for forever. I always tell people like one of the coolest things is there's no nubs on it, which if you haven't seen one, which some people will be like, oh, you want the nubs. Like you want the nubs if you putt bad. If you putt good, you don't need them. Right. And so the chains catch so good, you don't really need the nubs. You'll get punished a little bit more when you miss that like toilet bowl putt, right? It's going to pop out. But I think that miss happens way less than people coming in just a little short and catching the nubs and popping back out. Definitely for me.
I would agree with that.
The first set of chains, I think it's like 4 layers of chains, but the first set of chains is like lighter. And when it's on like a sliding system. So when the putt goes in, it slides back in, but instead of stopping before the next set of chains, like most baskets do, or right at it, it passes up it. So when it comes in and it catches the second set of chains is heavier. So when it catches those, it sends the disc downward. So you can putt this is the band, your putt can hit here and still go in the basket.
Yeah. Straight down.
Wow. Yeah. And then the deeper you get into the chains, the heavier they are. And then there's like a set of chains around the pole that is like super thick and heavy. And so it's like, I was sitting there like at the expo with all these people around and I'm ripping approach discs forehand, like 50, 60 miles per hour straight into this basket and not even hitting the pole.
Jeez. It's amazing.
And so it's like, and they're all going in.
Yeah, they definitely looked like, just from seeing the videos of them, they looked pretty enforced. I didn't realize that they were just like thicker chains within the other, the front chain configuration.
Yeah, he's been working on it a long time. I really hope the politics of disc golf do not get in the way and allow that to become the new Pro Tour basket, because they catch so well that it is going to give, putting is so much of it is confidence, right? It is going to give people putting on those so much confidence that that basket is going to catch your disc. That, dude, you are going to be watching Raptor Legs Ricky from like 130. I mean, that thing's going to be going in from everywhere.
Yeah.
So I am very hopeful that will become the Pro Tour basket. And Dave just does not care. He wants to make money as a business person, but he's like, I told the Pro Tour, I'll license it to him. You can put anybody's name on it you want, as long as you're just using my basket. Like, it's a good basket.
Yeah.
And so it's like, I'm like, oh.
Don't do that.
I'm excited. I want to play on them. I saw where they're getting all 36 holes at Eagles Wings, or sorry,
Eagles Crossing.
Eagles Crossing.
Yep. Yeah, they're replacing all of them, which that's already a super baller course. So I'm probably gonna go there next month, or maybe this month or next month. I'm gonna go out to Gateway and do some stuff, and I'm gonna drive the hour over to Eagles Crossing and play it. But
we're so far away from it. We want to travel there and go.
It's like 7 hours for me, but I'll do it because I did Gateway the first time. When I signed my contract with Gateway, I wanted to go there and meet them in person. I actually got up in the morning. It's in my sponsorship video announcement, I think, but I left my house at like 5 a.m. I drove 6 hours to Gateway Factory, spent the whole day there, and then at like 7 or 8 at night their time, I drove back. So it was like 9 o'clock my time, and I drove all the way back. So I did it in one day, like there and back, 12 hours of driving.
Jeez.
And so, yeah. Well, every Pro Tour event I played this year, on Sunday when my round finished, I drove all the way home. So I never stayed an extra night. So like Preserve was 12 hours.
Oh, wow.
Like 12 hours straight back after our round.
You're probably working in your car on your laptop on the way home.
Yeah, basically. No, I had to wait for Bickle. We actually got in the car and started heading home. We were 20 minutes down the road, and he got a call that he had a playoff for a USDGC spot. And so we flipped back around, drove 25 minutes back to the course. He went like a 6-hole playoff.
Whoa.
And then he lost. And I told him, I was like, I can't believe you lost after that turnaround. And then we lost, 2 hours of our drive into that. We got home from that tournament at like 6 a.m. We never went to sleep. We just drove straight back. So I'm not doing that this year.
Fun times.
And a large part of the reason I'm not doing the Pro Tour as much this year was that was probably dangerous.
Yeah. I'd say so.
You could crash out, man. All that work.
Since we're on baskets, we'll lead that into we always like to ask final 5 questions with all our guests.
Yep.
And the first one is, what's your most liked and most disliked basket? I think we know which one's the most liked.
Yeah, the Titan Pro 35 is the best basket. I've never played actually on a full round on a Titan Pro 35 because they don't have them near me yet. And but I think the best basket I've ever played a full round on is I just like Mach X's. They just catch very good. They catch most every putt. Yeah. I hate veteran baskets. I'm sorry. I don't hate DD, but I just hate their baskets. They're garbage. And we have them on like courses everywhere here, and I hate it. But the worst basket ever is the Mach 2.
Mach 2.
Yeah.
We got those on a lot of courses around here too, and those are garbage.
Is that what's at Mach course?
Mach 3.
The old Prodigies are also terrible.
The T1s are
the T2s are okay. I don't think they're bad, but the T1s work.
Yeah, those are tough.
Those couldn't catch it cold.
We got T1s out of my local, and it's tough.
Oh, they're bad.
It's so tough. All right. For your game, now this don't have to for your game. What's the most useless disc you've ever tried?
The most useless disc?
This is everybody always has to think about this one.
Yeah, I don't know. I think every disc has like some form of use. I used to bag a tilt and threw it frequently because it was really good if you threw it for what it was used for, right? I think honestly here I'll give maybe an unpopular one. I'll say the Berg.
Oh, Berg hater.
The reason I'm gonna say the Berg, it's not because I don't think it's a good disc. Like whatever, a lot of people throw it and throw it well, right? The reason is I think that because it has such surprisingly low glide, that if you throw it a lot, I think it messes with your touch.
Yeah,
I can see that. Yeah,
I've made that.
You start sending things long when you stop throwing it. So that's why I said I think the War Spear is like a better Berg because it flies like a normal disc, but you can get the flight of a Berg out of it, right? But you have to throw it with more touch. But it flies just like one, and it feels just like one, but it's a normal disc. So if you want to throw it further, you can throw it further. So yeah, I hate the Berg. I don't like it personally, but I don't think it's useless because people like it, but sure, I don't think it's good.
The Berg gets a lot of hate, and I get it.
Gets a lot of love around me.
Yeah, well, I'm a Berg lover, but I tell you, I might have to try the Gateway.
Yeah, give it a shot. War Spear. Try a platinum one. Those are real nice.
Music or no music when you're playing?
I have worn headphones for 4 disc golf rounds ever. I believe my average rating during those 4 rounds is 1039.
Wow.
I believe I should start wearing headphones. I wore headphones.
I've done that like yesterday.
I wore headphones my second round on Sunday, and I shot 1052.
Wow.
So I have a clip that went pretty. I got a lot of views of me hitting like an 82-foot death putt to take it to a playoff at this big tournament, and I was wearing headphones, and that was the first time I'd ever wore headphones playing disc golf. And I will always, I've told the story to so many people, but I will always remember it because I was listening to a song. I think it was The Drop by Lecrae. And it like has this like crescendo of like building up with like orchestra music almost. And it's a rap song, but then it like gets up and then it just goes and it goes silent for a second. And then it goes and like drops. And I was like, there was a bunch of people watching, stiff headwind, 82-footer, OB behind it, $1,000 putt. And I was like listening to that and I couldn't hear anything else. And in my head, and right as I went to do the step, it like dropped and I like let go of it. And right as it let go, like the whole flight, I could hear everything because there was no
music. You were in your own movie.
dude, right when it hit, it goes boom and drops. I literally walked right over to my buddies. I go, God, I wish you could have heard what was going on in my head when that went in. It plays a part into why I was so hyped when I hit it. I was like, I just want to take that and make it a movie. Like, it was a movie.
That's hilarious. Yeah.
I lost the playoff, but it was sick. Still made a lot of money on the putt, so it was good.
I love that though, that it happened. Oh man.
All right.
I was like, it was so sick.
Give us some recommendations, music recommendations. We're always trying to find new stuff to listen to when we're on the course.
Fun fact, I used to be a professional dancer.
Oh,
no one knows that. Nobody knows that. I was a ballet instructor, and then I did breakdancing and stuff like that for fun. I had a lot of friends who did competitive breakdancing, so I was very good at dancing at one point. I think I posted on my Instagram story the other day a picture of me my senior year of high school, and I was like standing on one hand with my feet above my head.
Okay.
And I was like, my back just hurts looking at this. But that same friend who didn't know how to say my name, I was best man at their wedding, and I breakdanced at his wedding, and he didn't know I could do that either. He's like, what? He's like, who are you?
Yeah, no joke.
No, but and so I really just like anything with a good beat. I really don't even listen to it. I just like it more of just like keeps me like flowing, I guess. Of like, you'll see me like doing really stupid stuff, like hitting the gritty or something like that while I'm like walking. My buddy was like making fun of me. He's like, you're wild right now. Cause on Sunday I was like doing stupid stuff while I was like walking. And I was like, no, dude, I was like, I'm vibing right now with this music. And but pretty much anything. I mean, I just like, as long as it has like a fast beat. I really like NF. He's really good. So that's probably my main. Like, I like Connor Price, super good. But I just usually just turn on like hip hop Spotify channel and just play whatever. I don't even listen to it. Although I will say the other day I was listening and I had a putt I was walking up to and Cardi B was playing and I was like, I just cannot get it.
And then you sunk a 80-foot putt.
Yeah, the second time I ever listened to music was Idlewild round 2, and I was pissed off because round 1 I shot 6 over. I shot 10 down in a money round with Corbin Milcheski the day before, and I was like, oh, I'm winning this tournament, unrealistic. And I shot 6 over the first day, and I was super mad. And so the second day I just put in headphones and I shot 6 down. So like 12 stroke improvement, right? And I shot like a 10-30 something, whatever. But on the last hole, I had a putt from like 40 feet and I was listening to a good song. And right as I went to go putt it, the song had ended, which like wouldn't normally bother me, but it cut right into a Burger King ad and it goes Whopper, Whopper. And I was like, oh, and I airballed it. And I was like, you should have paid for premium. Like it just cost you a stroke. No. But didn't matter. I played like garbage that time.
It's funny. It's funny you say you're a dancer because I used to be a dancer too.
Hey, there you go.
Exotic.
What kind of dance did you do? Exotic dancer? Nice. Yeah. Ooh, hey, I can see it actually.
I'd like to work a pole, let me tell you.
Yeah.
It was Big Thunder.
That's
unnecessary, Josh.
Josh, come on.
Get out of here.
All right. Next. What's the shadiest thing you've ever seen in disc golf?
Oh, I've seen people just like straight up cheat for sure. Multiple times. Especially when they like think you're not watching. I don't even say anything. Honestly, like if you're gonna cheat, dude, it's gonna come back to get you.
Sure.
Whatever.
I've seen that a lot too. The flubbing the scores, where someone took a 7 and they're like, it was a 5. And I'm like,
we got some guys that do that I've played with that especially casual rounds. It's like, what'd you shoot? And they tell you, and it's like,
yeah, sure about that?
Yeah. You sure about that? No, I just think like, I don't know. I've seen some shady stuff. I've seen people just, the funny one to me is always like, in sanctioned events, it's against the rules to like smoke.
Yeah.
And so this isn't like, I don't really care if you smoke, but like, I hate the smell of cigarette smoke. And so like, if you want to smoke, like everybody who's ever asked me, I'm like, I don't really care. Just don't do it like in my face. Like, whatever. But like, I remember playing with this one guy, I won't name him, but he's from Ohio. And he was like, ugh.
And it's just,
and I'm like, bro, just walk over there. You're fine. Like we can all smell whatever you're doing in there. Like, it's not a big deal. Just walk over there. But it's like, I don't know, people like that. It's like, you're not slick. So, but yeah, I've caught people cheating for sure. Like moving their disc when no one's looking. And
oh, wow.
Like, I don't even know. So
That's
whatever.
filthy.
I've had somebody accuse me of cheating in a tournament one time, and I was like, if I was going to cheat, bro, I would have put my disc in a way better spot than this. This spot is terrible. So, no,
have you ever been called for a courtesy violation or called courtesy violation on anybody?
I have never been called for a courtesy violation. I probably could have been called for one before. Just when I first started playing, I'm a very competitive person. I played competitive ultimate before I played disc golf, and I'm just a competitive person. I'll say this a million times. People probably will never believe me. I don't really care if I win. I just want to play how I know I can play, right? So like Sunday, for example, I lost the tournament Sunday. I was a defending champion. I lost. Shot a 10.52 second round, came back, and people were like, "Oh, I thought you were going to win." I was like, "Dude, I don't really care." Like Danny shredded. He averaged 10.37. I averaged like 10.28, and I lost. That's fine. I mean, it's a B tier, and I shot 10.28 and I lost. Oh well.
Yeah.
Like, but yeah, I mean, I probably could have just gotten mad, it's never anything at anybody else, but like, just like miss my 70th circle one putt and just like kick my bag or something like that. But I don't really do that stuff anymore. I'm pretty tame. But it's always internal. I never like take it out on other people. And also like people have made comments to me before, like, they're like, "Man, like I've had a really bad round." And they're like, "You get really mad." They're like, "But then like immediately it's over." So like I'll miss my putt and I'll be like, "Oh my gosh, you're such an idiot." And then I'm like, "Hey, nice." I'll be like, "Nice putt, dude." Like I'm just frustrated with like myself and like my ability to execute the things I know I can do or I've practiced. And so I'm never like, I'm pretty relaxed. Like if people always like talk in the backswing or something like that, and they'll be like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry." I'm like, dude, usually my buddies are like, "You suck" in the background while I'm throwing. Like this does not bother me. So
that's same thing. Like anything that I've ever been outwardly upset about is all right here, all on me.
Yeah. I've played on cards with guys that are like, "Are you effing kidding me? I missed that. And this guy's getting lucky," like saying it out loud. And it's like, I'm like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Because we're playing disc golf and I can guarantee you I've hit a tree and got kicked into a bad spot. But yeah, that being said, like, it's not like I haven't thought those things before. For sure.
Sure. Yeah.
I played around where a guy didn't hit a fairway a single time and he beat me somehow because his tree just kicked his disc in the basket. But that is just how it works sometimes.
That's golf, baby.
Yeah, I always tell people all you can do. We got some guys locally that get pretty angry when they play. I always tell them, like, anytime I see them getting mad, I'm just like, "Yeah, dude." I was like, "Good idea. Get mad. That always solves it."
Yeah.
You always just start playing. You just start playing way better when you get angry.
Yeah.
Good idea.
That's what you were missing, playing with the fury, man.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, I've had times where like, you're like, "Quit being such a sissy," like, and like you like hype yourself up, but it's not like anger. It's like just like telling yourself to do better. But nah, I don't get mad anymore. The only time you'd ever call me for a courtesy violation would be maybe like going out of turn or something like that. Because I'm always I play really fast, so I'm always like up on my disc, and I'm like, I would try to be out of the way, but sometimes I got a bad habit of walking in front of people. I recognize it. Everybody who's played with me, I recognize it. I try not to. So.
Well, here at the courtesy violation, we were going to vote you to take over all of disc golf because we know it'd be in great hands.
Yep,
appreciate it. Please don't elect me.
Henceforth, you are the mouthpiece for all things
disc golf.
Appreciate that. I would take it with a grain of salt for sure. A lot of things.
Marketing.
Yeah, there you go. I can do that for sure. Yeah, as long as I can just like honestly, I'd take the job if I can just tell people what to do and I have people to do the work for me. But the problem is like I'm that guy in the group chat or in the group project that was like, "Hey, can you do this?" "You're not gonna do it good. I'll just do it." And so I would not be very good at that. So.
Yeah. Well, thanks for coming on, man. Oh yeah, before you leave, drop your socials.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. You can follow me on Instagram at Hyzer. I'm on there. And then on Facebook, I'm just Kevin Fodrey. You can follow me. Everything that's on my Facebook is just shared from my Instagram pretty much. I have a TikTok. I don't use it. I have a YouTube. I also don't use it. I'm planning to do YouTube at some point this year, hopefully. But again, like I said, I'll fit that in between my 8th job and my 9th job. And so so hopefully we'll do that, but you can check me out, Cardinal Disc Golf. Go follow Cardinal Disc Golf and go follow Gateway Disc Sports on Instagram. I make pretty much all of the content on both of those. And both companies, like I said, and even forget me, dude, even if I didn't work at Cardinal, right? You should go support Lane because Lane is an awesome person and he does a lot for the disc golf community that goes unnoticed. And a lot of the things that he does, like he doesn't even ever take credit for. There's just so many things in disc golf that I'm like, oh, I've even caught myself sending him something and being like, hey, dude, this is super sick. And he's like, yeah, I made it. And I'm like, oh, well, of course, that's why it's sick. So yeah, go. Yeah, follow me on Instagram. That's where I make most of my content. I'll try to make you laugh. I do 60% memes and then 40% of like actual.
Your memes are funny.
The memes are funny. I just started doing memes. They were making fun of me on the podcast I did last week because he's like, your first meme was December 20th. You know how many memes you've done? It was like 140 memes since then or something like that. And I was like, yeah, dude, I was cranking out memes because this is all stuff I think all the time. And I'm like, oh, this is easy to make. I'm just gonna post 1,000 memes. But hey, whatever, it works. I think I gained like 1,000 followers in the last like month and a half. So
yeah, that's how you do it, huh?
We'll take it.
Man, once again, it was very insightful, very entertaining. I really appreciate you coming on, dude.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. Anytime. I love it.
Heck yeah. Talk to you later.
See you guys.
Oh,